Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Welcome to this week's Kabbalat Shabbat. And it gives me great pleasure to invite Irene to give us a Devar Torah this week.
Thank you, Stuart. Okay, we've all seen that flags are currently in the news a lot, with all the Hamas flags, the Free Palestine flags, the anti-Israel protesters, and all the other groups who seek to destroy and burn Israeli flags. Flags also play an important role in the book of Bamidbar. God spoke to Moshe and Aaron, saying, "The children of Israel shall encamp, and each man by his banner, according to the insignia of their father's household, at a distance surrounding the tent of meeting shall they encamp." Parshat Naso, which is this week's Sedra, continues to describe the layout of each place where the nation camped. The 12 tribes were organized into 4 formations of 3 tribes each, with a degel led by a designated tribe. Each formation was called a degel, which we use currently in modern Ivrit as a flag. Their position, according to Rashi, the position of the tribes, was in the order of how Yaakov instructed his sons to escort his body to Israel for burial. They were a sign of each tribe's identity and purpose, and were a symbol of the unity of the nation. Commentators say that there were 12 individual flags, and also that each formation of 3 tribes had their own banner too, on which letters were inscribed, and together those 4 flags spelt the names of the patriarchs and therefore showed the unity of the nation. Rashi suggested that each tribe had a different color flag which corresponded to the stones on the breastplate of the Kohen, and the different colors highlighted the diversity of each tribe. Abarbanel, who understood politics and diplomacy well, explained that the tribes were placed next to each other and traveled together in 4 groups. Judah's group, whose symbol was a lion, and he had a blue flag, was placed, his was at the head of the journey, and Dan's was in the rear, because those 2 were the strongest and would deter the enemy from attacking. The concept of the flag and the banner goes beyond simplicity. It's about the identity. It shows the importance of the journey in the Midbar and the establishment of a structured society for the Israelite nation. The layout of the flags surrounded the Mishkan, drawing on the holiness of the Shekhinah. Throughout their 40-year wandering in the desert, the 12 tribes camped in groups around the Mishkan at a distance away of 2,000 cubits, that being the maximum they could walk on Shabbat. When the clouds of glory, which rested above the Mishkan, lifted, then the tribes traveled to their next encampment and set up the Mishkan again and their tents. We know there were 42 stops altogether. Can you imagine their journeyings with a lively movement of thousands of people with their flags advancing? How exciting it must have been, if you like camping, that is. That brings me to the modern-day Israeli flag. The flag's meaning is rooted in Jewish history, tradition, and the Zionist movement's goals. The blue stripes and the Star of David are significant symbols. The blue stripes represent the stripes on the talit and can also be interpreted as symbolizing and evoking the longing for the Jewish homeland. The white background is about purity. The Star of David is widely recognized symbol of the Jewish people's identity, and the hexagram shape is a compound of 2 equilateral triangles. King David had a protective shield with a star on it, hence the name. It's symbolizing God's protection and represents peace, balance, and emunah, faith. The 6 points represent Hashem's power over everything in all directions. The flag as a whole is a powerful symbol of the Jewish people's history, faith, and resilience, and it represents the state of Israel. It's been used as a decoration since antiquity. It appeared in the Bar Kokhba revolt coins of 135 BCE, featured on the oldest complete copy of the Masoretic text, dated 1008. It's been seen in Hebrew texts in shuls from the 3rd century, for instance, the Kirbet Shura synagogue. It was used by Kabbalistic Jews in the 3rd and 4th century and by other religions, but was seen much more in the 17th century in Eastern Europe and Prague and began to be used on shuls. By the end of World War I, it was internationally seen as a symbol of the Jewish people and was seen on gravestones of fallen soldiers. The Israeli flag's design was inspired by the flag of the World Zionist Organization, which also featured two blue stripes and a Star of David, and it featured in the First Zionist Congress of 1897. It was officially adopted as the Israeli flag on the 28th of October, 1948. Flags should symbolize national pride alongside holiness and devotion, not hate and destruction. May we continue to fly our Israeli flag from a place of pride, strength, resilience, and love, and may we not have to see flags of hate. Historically, this is reinforced by a midrash brought by Dr. Aviva Zornberg, which teaches that flags originated at Matan Torah. When God descended on Har Sinai, the people saw myriads of angels with different banners, and they too longed to have their own flags as symbol of God's love for them. Hence, they were arranged in the midbar by flags. Finally, may we experience the love of the banner of Torah just as Israel experienced at Har Sinai. This is the first Shabbat after Shavuot, which was considered a marriage contract with Hashem. And we are going to bring in Shabbat as usual with Lecha Dodi and receive the Shabbat bride. Can we think about how we will all renew and continue to enrich our lives with our Torah gift? Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Irene. And may the flags always fly high.
Yeah.
And now, give me pleasure to invite Rabbi